Hi there, welcome back. The album is Pretzel Logic, and you can see it right behind me there. It's Steely Dan. Any major dude will tell you. The intro begins like this. It's got a D, and you're kind of rising to the sus4 with thirds, and it goes down to G. And you've got that sharpened fourth. Normally, in the key of D, it would be, but it's that sharpened fourth. So. You think we're just going to be set in D, but then it goes to a brighter key A, and the rest of the tune is in A. That's the verse, I've never seen you looking so bad. And then there's this riff, typical Steely Dan, it goes like this. So you're going from D to A, which is called 4-1. But instead of just going, what most bands would do is this kind of thing. You've got all these tasty licks that Donald Fagen and, in this case, David Page probably came up with. I'm not sure who did, but here's the riff. Lots of sustain pedal. And that's very typical of the kind of Californian rock sound, early 70s. You've got that lovely sus2. Playing a few keys. Sus sound on a minor chord there. You tell me that your super fine minors come undone. So A with a C sharp in the bass, it's kind of like one B chord, but instead of going, as all bands would do, back to D again, it goes down to the flat 7 G, kind of hinting back to where we were before, and it goes. So in the intro we had that sharp 4, but now we've got I should mention, please do press that subscribe button if this kind of video about showing how classic songs work on the piano is what you like. Much appreciated. Then the next section is the kind of bridge section. Any major dude with half a heart surely would tell you, my friend. And it's like this. It goes to B minor. So we were in the key of A, and now we're in chord 2, which is B minor. That's 2, but with a minor 7th. Any major dude. And it's kind of going to chord 6, so it's 2 to 6. And then a chord that is not in the key of A, it's kind of flat 7 minor. So it's, again, getting further brighter. It's actually a G sharp minor chord. So bending the rules of diatonic harmony for all you classically trained musicians, it's this. 2, 6, G sharp minor 7, and there's another tasty riff, which is very typical of Donald Fagen, using these fourth intervals. But it's sort of getting louder on the whirly electric piano. So the bridge section. I like this. So sort of tasteful, yet flowing. It's not pretentious like some of the prog rock bands of the era. This was recorded probably in late 73, where this is smooth, natural sounding, even though the harmony is interesting. Steely Dan still, after all this time, seem to be gaining in popularity. And the people who love Steely Dan don't love them necessarily because the recordings were so slick, which of course they were, engineered by Roger Nichols. But it's the beautiful harmonies, the way that, like I said earlier, these sus chords, just going into new keys, but doing it in a flowing, wonderful way. I think anyone who's seen the Asia soundtrack, the classic albums series about Asia, when Fagen and Becker were talking about how they rehearsed the band knew the parts, but then they had to forget it all and play it naturally again. And that's really more than most bands can handle without coming to blows. And it's not surprising Gaucho took so long, 3 years later. And now back to the music. The next section, when Donald Fagen sings "When the Demon is at Your Door." So this is a typical 2-5-1. 1-2-5-1, which sounds very boring. But when you add this melody, 2-7, B minor 7, E7, and then A major 7, third inversion for your jazz pianists. Now I'm just going to play it through straight from that section so you get an idea of the speed of the chord sequences. And then into this famous melodic sequence. Into the middle 8, climbing up the chords. But then another suggested 2, 5, and then 1 would be E minor, but it goes to A. We're going to blues mode, which is kind of A13, and then a G11, and we're saved with that F sharp minor 7, which is kind of back in key. So we're going. And then the bluesy, kind of dominant 7th, 9th, 11th substitution chords. And we've got a nice little riff. And then back down to the D, which is firmly in the key of A4. There's that blues chord. It's kind of F on G. And then we're back in chord 1, which is A. And that riff begins. And it's kind of still in bluesy mode because it's A7. There's the 7th of the A, and that's the beginning of the riff. So he's constantly playing with these 2 chords and then using classic jazz fourths. You can hear the 4th intervals. Time, and he's kind of slowing down, waiting for the big chordal riff. Same 2 chords, and a little bass line. You might wonder why they're constantly nagging you to always hit that subscribe button, but it does mean a lot actually. And let me know other Steely Dan songs you'd like me to cover in this kind of more in-depth harmonic analysis. But anyway, back to the breakdown of Any Major Dude. And now for the absolutely gorgeous middle 8. It starts on chord 6, F sharp minor 7. I can tell you all I know, the where to go, the what to do. Probably the cheesiest part of the song, and that ain't very cheesy at all. So here we go, 2, E11, 5, and back to that A. Now I'm going to play through the solo guitar section. I'm just going to use a normal piano sound. And now do a close analysis on the keyboard. Okay, what's happening here is you're rephrasing the verse melody, which is this. Then it changes, it does a sort of sus4, and then in thirds the guitar's playing. It goes up to the first inversion of chord 1, which is A, and then with a C sharp in the bass. And then instead of going to the D, which you imagine it would, it goes to the G. And you have an octave at the end. And just to finish it all off, we've got this typical kind of chord displacement. Because we're on the G, we're playing an A on the G. So A second inversion, there's root first second to the second inversion G. These extra little touches that are so great. There's the sus. And third, and then you've got your A, and then the first inversion all the way up to the fifth of the A, G, and that A on G, and then we're back into the chorus and the major dude. Now again, I'm going to use the piano sound just to show you how the whole song ends off. It's a coda, it's a kind of outro section. That bit is where he sings, any major dude will, instead of going, which it does the first two verses, it goes, will tell you on the beat. And goes right up to the D7, and you've got these underlying chords. And then major dude, and then finally you reach the A to G two chord section. And a longer wait for the final A, G, A chord. Well, that was a more in-depth analysis of a Steely Dan song. Normally I kind of highlight the riffs. Please have a look at the old 10-question quizzes where I play a few intros and bits and bobs of the song, and you've got to guess the title. I hope you liked it, and please do subscribe if this is the kind of thing you like. It takes a bit of time, albeit on the smaller scale budget I'm on here to put these videos together. So hit the subscribe button, and it'll give me encouragement to make even more of these videos about the band I love so much. I've done a few on Beatles, Depeche Mode, Bowie, other artists that I hugely admire. But thank you for watching.